Hey guys, this is KSP with Tape, and today you join me for episode 18 of KSP Road to Exploration, and like usual right now, we're starting at our station. Yes, we have a few things to do to basically get everything in order to do what is effectively the most expensive moon mission anyone has ever done in KSP. Yes, all of this station stuff has been basically mounting to making tourism really easy and moving people between things, between bodies in the Kerbin System really easy. If I have bases, so I can get lots of science and take tourist places. But obviously none of that has happened yet, because there is a huge amount of infrastructure that has to go into place for this. Like this station, which is quite, there's quite a lot of bits to it. All three of these vehicles here, the station around Minmus. There's a few more bits that need to go onto these vehicles until early if this will work. But yeah. Anyway, so this is the Ares getting all fueled up. The Ares 2 getting all fueled up so it can leave here. That is what we've been looking at for the past minute. And it's heading off to Minmus, of course, to go and pick up some Kerbals. There's still a couple of, there's one more tourist on the station who we need to deal with. Well, no, we need to bring them back. And I think I'm going to bring back the Mitkin as well. But anyway, yeah, it's all pretty standard, so I'm just going to cut through most of this, and it will be mostly time compressed, because there's a lot to get into this episode. All in the Kerbin System, because, yeah, we're finally seeing some fruition out of this, and it's going to be awesome. But yeah, I'm going to bring that pilot back, who's on the station, just because it seems kind of pointless keeping him there right now. I just have to keep sending supply missions and all that crap. So yeah, but they will still be in place for any time I need to take Kerbals to Minmus for tourism. I think I do have a couple more contracts lined up after these three. Currently, there are 3 tourists in space. All of them wanted to fly by Minmus, and one of them wants to land on the moon. We've taken them all to Minmus, and now we're going to take the final one to the moon and get that all wrapped up. You probably can't really keep track of this. I know I can't really. Anyway, yeah, lots of, standard stuff. So we're going to head to Minmus, but you know what that looks like. So here we are at Minmus, slowing down. There'll be a bit of that. I know because a lot of this is going to be, it gets a little repetitive when you go to Minmus a billion times and land a billion rocket stages. Yeah, I'm just going to start cutting through it, obviously. I don't want to force you to watch that. Well, no one's forcing you. Well, I'm kind of forcing you. You don't know this, but I bought like 10,000 snipers, and they're all outside of your houses. It's getting very expensive to run this channel. All the sniper money. Anyway, here we are at Series 1. And yeah, let's just go and fetch our Kerbals. Jeb's at the helm. He's been a bit bored on Hermes. He wanted to take the Ares 2 out for a spin all the way to Minmus. So he did. And now this station now has fuel. Because last time I sent this here, I had to do like about 40 minutes of aero braking because it doesn't have a heat shield, and I had to slow down when I went back to Kerbin, so this is going to refuel. And this station has an unbelievable amount of monopropellant because I accidentally doubled the amount I sent because I put some on the core and on the fuel stage. But whatever, it's good. Fuel is always good. Anyway, there we are docked. Luckily this is all sped up because if you saw it real time, you might notice that I've just lost all of my docking ability. My maneuvering in this whole episode is just terrible. I think it's because I haven't been playing Road to Exploration that much. Which is a shame, because I actually really, really like doing this series. This is basically, what you're looking at now is how I would play KSP. Anyway, while that's there, we have a launch window, a launch scheduled. You may have been noticing the alarm clock. There's lots of things that say launch and then something after them. Yes, I've started planning my launches. They are 15 days apart. That's not totally rigid, like this is actually a day late, but whatever. But they're 15 days apart, and it basically allows me to move time more forward more quickly, so transfer windows come around, and it also constrains me a little bit, because I have to plan my launches, and I'm also, crazy about planning, so that's good. Anyway, this is the Pulsar 3 vehicle, a slightly heavier vehicle I've been talking about a few times, quite a lot actually, and have flown a couple of times, but it is set up for full reusability today. Yes, this is taking a fuel tank to the Hermes station, and it's actually for going to the moon, because we'll need that. Anyway, so let's just pop ourselves into orbit. I was mixing pop the fairing with get ourselves into orbit, but yes, this will be attached to the Red Origin 3. The Red Origin 3 is the Moonlander. All of my commercial commercial vehicles for taking crew to the crew places have been called Red Origin. There's been 1 and 2, and then it kind of stagnated for a while, and now it's 3. Anyway, so usually I will be cutting through rocket stage landings, but this is very momentous. This is the Pulsar 3 first stage coming back for, I think it's second attempt, and I've actually put parachutes on it this time because I think I'm not quite good enough to do propulsive landings yet. So we're going to land with parachutes and propulsion. I didn't have to put as many parachutes on there, and I might actually scale it back a bit more because I've got quite a lot of fuel in this stage. I've actually carried a full quarter tank of fuel, the 360 units of fuel, which I won't need usually. Usually it'll be a bit less, but it was quite a light payload. But too big for the Pulsar 2 vehicle. Anyway, so we're coming down on the ocean, and we're using our engines to slow ourselves down, and we touch down a bit swiftly, but the parachutes mean that we fall over very gently, and the stage has landed. We get about 20,000 funds back for that. But anyway, here we are in orbit. I guess I didn't show you getting to orbit, but basically, yeah, it was my standard approach to the station, so I just cut through it because, you know, I've been to the station so many times now. But anyway, yeah, so I did bring the stage the whole way, because there's no engine on this payload, and you can see the RCS is being just really annoying. So I brought it all the way here with this second stage. So we're going to decouple it now, fire it at the station, because apparently I'm just stupid as all hell. And we're going to need to fetch that payload with the Red Origin 3. Yes, this is the Moonlander, the commercial Moonlander that will take Kerbals to the moon, tourists to the moon, anyone to the moon, and it will do it reusably, because we will keep reusing this vehicle. Luckily, happily, the second stage does just fly past us a little bit, so we're fine. But anyway, yeah, we need to send out this vehicle now and go and grab that and put it on the station. And now my approach takes quite a long time because apparently I've totally forgotten how to KSP, so I will speed through it. But yes, basically, this is effectively a two-stage vehicle. It needs the fuel tank to get to the moon and back, and then it drops the fuel tank off, goes and lands on the moon, and then returns to orbit, meets the fuel tank, and then uses the fuel in the fuel tank to go home. So yeah, in all it has about 4,000 meters per second delta V, so there will be no need for aerobraking or any of that nonsense. It's just an easy, simple vehicle. It doesn't carry any scientific equipment, but I could put some on the top docking port, and obviously I will be able to take EVA reports and surface samples even if I don't do that. But yes, this the mission we're going to do today with this will be the very first one, so there will be no additional science on it, and we're hopefully going to land somewhere we've landed before, so we can pick up a surface sample, because I know some of the landings I did, we didn't get any surface samples. But anyway, I just need to maneuver this into the station fairly standardly, and maybe you'll get a little glimpse at how terrible I have become at maneuvering. I just couldn't do it today, yeah. You see, I just kind of go right past the station. But I eventually get it there. I burn a lot of my RCS fuel, and that's kind of annoying. But anyway, enough of all of this. Well, I guess we'll just throw some monopropellant in there. But anyway, enough of all of this. We are back at the Ceres station. And we're going to take all of these crew back to Kerbin, back to the Hermes station. Just quickly change the symbol for this to an actual station symbol. And start heading back. Now, I do have a lot more fuel on this than I did last time, because obviously I refueled a bit. And it should be enough to put me in orbit, but probably won't be enough to do an inclination change, which obviously I forgot because I'm me, and I didn't think about the inclination change. So I will be a little low on fuel, but hopefully it won't be anywhere near as bad as last time where I had to aerobrake for so long. Just aerobraking's really boring when you've got to do loads and loads of passes. It's fine if it's real life and you can do other things, but yeah. But luckily that didn't happen this time, which is good. I would have had to listen to even more of John Green Plays FIFA, which is amazing, and I've listened to like 20 episodes in the past 2 days. Oh god, I've been so unmotivated. But anyway, enough of that. We are just going to do our deorbit burn so that we can meet up with the station. We're in the exact wrong place to get to the station because it's on the other side of Kerbin. But it's fine. We have tons of excess energy which we can use to our advantage. You can see here I'm also burning off my monopropellant fuel because it's lower ISP and it's good to get rid of that. As I'm sure you will all know from, well, I was going to say me, but probably Scott Manley. He is where you pick up all the KSP tips. Anyway, so I'm going to do an inclination change, and being smart, I do it on the side where it will be most efficient. And yeah, it's still about 161 meters per second of delta V. Which, incidentally, is about the amount of delta V I needed to finish off slowing down when I reached the station. So, yeah, should think about that next time. And the even funnier thing is, I actually put more fuel on it, on the spacecraft, and then put some back on the station because I didn't think I'd need it. Yeah, so this does go much better, though. It's just a, fairly standard encounter. You can see I'm kind of toying around here. A little confused. I'm having trouble getting an encounter, although I did just have one there, which I think I totally missed because I'm a fool. But it looks like if I do the burn here, I'll get close-ish. Yeah. It actually kind of doesn't look like that, but I think in a couple of orbits I will be much closer, which will be good. And then I can just, slowly maneuver in. And yeah, you can see here I've just got to do a bit of a, a bit of a fine-tune, just to bring myself in. And yeah, I've got about a kilometer intersect, which actually isn't that bad. And yeah, we still have quite a bit of fuel. Although our encounter velocity is 300 meters per second, which is a problem. Because I only have about half of that in the spacecraft, because I use the other half on the inclination change. It's funny when you watch back footage of you playing games. It's really weird. You're like, oh, that's why everything went to shit. Anyway, so yeah, I burned off all my fuel there, so it's time to send out the lander again to catch the Ares 2, which buzzes by, which actually looked pretty awesome. I wish it had been in the daylight so we could actually see the spacecraft. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to catch up with it with this, which has tons of Delta V, because it's for going to the moon, and I still have quite a bit of fuel on the station, so yeah. Anyway, here we are. Let's pick up the Ares 2 and go and meet the Hermes station. But I've drifted really far because I had to buzz away at like 100 meters a second to go and fetch the spacecraft back. Another example of my terrible docking. I just literally couldn't do it today. Anyway, I did, well, not literally, I did manage it, but anyway, so it looks like I'm actually going to encounter quite close to the station if I just do another orbit. But that was a lie, so I'm just doing a quick retrograde burn, so I speed up, so I catch the station. Because I've actually drifted behind it quite a lot in my couple of orbits that I cut out, because I thought I would encounter, but I didn't. But yeah, it looks like we might get pretty close, yeah. Apparently, yeah, so if I just do that, we'll get pretty close to the station, and we'll be able to just slow down. Now, all of this went really horribly, and my inability to maneuver meant I had to burn off loads of fuel. And doing maneuvers like this, if you watch the nav ball, I just keep putting the prograde on the target. I did this in the stupidest way possible, just because, well, I had done a lot of maneuvering today, and it had all been terrible, so I'd kind of given up on it. So I pretty much just moved in as aggressively and stupidly as possible, and it gets you to the station, so that works fine. And I'll just send up a refuel for the station next time, because I'm going to have to suck at most of the rest of its fuel. It has very little left on it, because they keep using it for going to Minmus. But yeah, we still have that full fuel tank over there for the rest of the moon mission today, which will be coming up rather soon after we dock these back to the station. So, we have all the crew where they need to be, we have all of the spacecraft where they need to be, we have all of the fuel tanks where they need to be. So, I think it's time that we head to the moon after we get these docked. So yeah, let's just move this into here, and yeah, it's a pretty busy station. Like I've said, I will need to put up some more docking ports at some point, which will be happening. I think that's my next launch. Yeah, Hermes 1 expansion, you can see in 6 days, which will probably be next episode. I might move that back for favor of a different mission, but I'm not entirely sure. I do make a lot of money today, so that's good. So yeah, let's just refuel all of the spacecraft and send it on its way. Its crew is Kerbin System and Cambry Kerman. Cambry Kerman is the tourist who wants to land on the moon, and Kerbin Kerman is the obliging astronaut who will Kerbinaut, I guess, who will take him to the moon and get a nice bonus. So yeah, let's just start our burn. I'm doing it a little earlier than I usually do, because I have a very low thrust to weight ratio with this massive fuel tank on top. But yeah, it's just a matter of waiting a little longer, which will be a tiny bit less efficient, but it doesn't really matter too much. So yes, today we start finally paying back for all of this. If you remember a long time ago when I actually first built the station, I was like, yeah, the station was a little overrun, it cost more than I was paid for, but it's cool, I'll make the money back. And then I was like, I'm going to need a bunch of vehicles if I'm going to do that, because no one wants to go to Kerbin orbit anymore, so I had to send up a bunch of vehicles, and I think the whole thing probably, even though I reused a hell of a lot of rockets doing it, which definitely made it possible, without that it probably would have been way too expensive, especially with all the crew vehicles I've sent up. But yeah, it probably came to about $500,000 funds, so let's start getting paid back, and we've still got to fuel it and put food on it and things, but yeah. it is a good investment having have a bunch of relay stations. I also need to put a base on the moon. I've got a mission for that, and I would like one. But anyway, that is all in the future. Right now, we are finally carrying out some awesome missions. So let's drop off this fuel tank and head down to the surface of the moon. In our newest lander, our biggest lander we've ever built, a two-person lander as opposed to the one-person landers of the Callisto era. Yes, that's what I called the original moonlanders. The single-person moonlanders that went to Minmus a bit, and mostly the moon, because I haven't really explored Minmus a huge amount. I haven't been doing a ton of science recently, because obviously I've been getting all of this working, but I really should be, and that we're going to do a little bit today. This is more of a test mission. But we will be taking the EV airport. Hopefully we'll be landing in the Midlands, or even the Highlands, because I didn't take EV airports from them because I didn't have the right building for that yet. So yeah. Anyway, let's deploy the landing legs and just land kind of gently. Haven't landed on the moon in a while either, because I've been mostly building stations. So I'm just kind of trying to get it right. And we are in normal speed for this because it's rather beautiful. And it's actually quite a nice part of the moon. Kerbin is in the sky, as you'll see, and there's some nice kind of ridges around, because we're in a bit of a crater. I was surveying the moon earlier, looking for places to do more scientific missions, because I would like to do a few of them. Probably just use this lander, because, well, why buy a new one when I can just attach a small science payload to this, to the docking port, and then, you know, bring it back, maybe put a lab on it, lab on the station, refurbish it. That'd be great. Anyway, yeah, you can see Kerbin in the sky like a jewel, and this is probably the thumbnail just because look how beautiful that is, just hanging in the sky, half lit, half not. All of its problems look so small from here. The collaborative warfare going on with the evil penguin empire looks so small from up here. Of course, that's an entirely different universe where the awful war is going on between just 4 awful people. I mean, have you heard them talk about each other? It's just awful. But here we just have peace. Our rockets are used for putting things on the moon that aren't made for building nuclear bombs, and not for delivering payloads to destroy other people. Our planes are for science, not for dropping hellfire missiles on people. Yes, the peaceful world. Anyway, let's just, well, I think I just did take a surface sample while I was yelling about collaborative warfare. But yeah, plant our flag, of course, and Highlands, just so we know where it was, and Red Origin 3. Kind of like Blue Origin, except this went to orbit, whereas Red Origin kind of left space for... Blue Origin kind of left space for... left Earth for a little bit. It was in space for like, what, a minute? They did reuse the rocket, though. That was cool. I mean, not SpaceX cool. Because, you know, SpaceX put some stuff in orbit and then landed, and on a barge, and on land one time. That's way cooler. Whenever you hear Elon Musk talking about landing rockets, he always emphasizes lateral velocity now, and everyone's like, oh yeah, he's just trying to make sure we understand it. It's like, nope, he's trying to make sure you know that it's way better than Blue Origin. Which it is. Anyway, enough of that. That I've just called this Red Origin because my initial kind of space program things were called Bluestone, kind of like Redstone, but Bluestone, so I thought Red Origin would be appropriate. Anyway, so let's head to orbit and meet up with our trusty fuel tank, and yeah, get going. Get going home. The Kerbal is very happy that they landed on the moon. We were only there for a brief period, but they understand that. It was the first mission. There's not a ton of infrastructure. All of the life support is on the fuel tank, so you know we want to get back there because we can't stay for too long. And you know we've got things to do in quite soon. You can see in the alarm clock in 5 days we've got to launch something to Hermes, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that mission next. Just launch something cool. But I have a couple of transfer windows coming up to various places which I'd like to meet, so I might have to move some things around, but we'll see. I do quite like having a schedule. It makes you think a lot harder. Anyway, let's just move in and dock to the Red Origin 3 probe. It actually is a fully fledged probe. It has a probe core and an antenna, so it won't accidentally get deleted or anything. We actually have quite a lot of fuel left, which is good, because if we'd used all of our fuel for landing and stuff, we probably wouldn't be able to get back particularly easily. But yeah, I mean, there's always aero braking, but I would really rather not. And we have still like a hell of a lot of delta V. I skipped through that a little quick, but I think 1,800 meters per second delta V, and we need about 1,000 to get back to where we need to be. So everything's good. This has really worked, and it means I can put a scientific payload on it. And have that work. It wouldn't be too much of a problem, because I would like to explore the other of the moon's craters and maybe eventually the poles. At some point, I obviously need to put a base down, so I would need. I'd need need to figure out a good place for that, somewhere that kind of borders a bunch of biomes, and figure out how that would pay off and things. But it would just be cool to have a moon base. Anyway, so now we just need to deorbit and get our encounter, and you can see the encounter node spinning around Kerbin. And we just do that until we're going slowly and have a close encounter with the station, and then just dock and everything will be cool. Everything will be awesome, because we're part of a team here, so yeah, everything is awesome and everything is cool. Anyway, you can see the station glinting slightly in the distance. That's distant object enhancement, which is a really great mod actually. It makes things glint a little bit. It's why I can see the planets far away, and you can see a tiny speck of white, which is really cool. It makes it feel a lot more spacey. It would really, especially if you're in a gravity type scenario, where you need to find the station. The station that is inexplicably 100 kilometers away from, or 100 miles away from Hubble, where at their closest point they should really be 200 miles away, which is rather confusing. Yeah, that was a terrible film. No, it was nice and cinematic, but it wasn't very interesting. Or scientifically accurate. Anyway, so let's just move in and dock. And yes, we have completed that mission. Now we should probably take our Kerbals home, because they're all on the station. We can only take 2 back at a time, but there'll be another Ares mission pretty soon. I think in 50 days or something. But I totally forgot to reuse the second stage for launching that fuel tank. But it's still in orbit, and I put solar panels on it this time, so it wouldn't run out of power, which was very smart of me, and now I need to find a good place to deorbit. I want to deorbit near to the KSC, obviously, and luckily the low orbit communications is actually getting good enough that I can actually communicate, even though I don't have a very good antenna on here. What I'm going to do in the future is put a better antenna on this, and it'll just break off in the atmosphere, and then it doesn't matter. As long as I'm flying over the KSC, it won't be a problem, which I will be doing here. Luckily, because I have a small network of low-orbit satellites, which I drop occasionally. So yeah, let's just prepare the parachutes for the worst, which the worst is if I lose communications and I can't pull the parachutes myself. But it looks like I probably will be able to, because I have enough fuel to slow down quite seriously, which is what I'm going to do. You can see I'm burning off almost all of my fuel there to get down quite quickly, and I have enough parachutes to land without fuel, so I do just burn off the rest, so I land quite close to the KSC. This has 2 drogue chutes and 2 main chutes. It is the Pulsar 3 second stage, if you've forgotten. So it is slightly bigger than the Pulsar 1, but the Pulsar 2 even. So yeah, but anyway, deploy the drogue chutes and prepare for landing. And then we'll be going slow enough for those main chutes to deploy, and hopefully we will touch down on the ocean, which will be glorious, because that will mean we will have recovered every bit of this rocket except the fairings, which are actually really expensive. But yeah, and obviously the stuff that's still in orbit, but that is reusable. But yes, so there we go, we can recover this, and that is all of the rocket recovered. We get I think it's like 8 grand back for that? Yeah, 7,000 plus the first stage, which is awesome. And now we need to bring back a few Kerbals on Ares 1, which is this. So yeah, pretty standard. So we leave the station, and then we do our deorbit burn, and then we deorbit. You've seen this enough times for me to be able to just cut through it. And I do lose the engines on descent, which is a bit annoying, because I've never had those on there before, so I hadn't really tested it. But yeah, that is that. And then we, touch down safely, and we get paid for the missions we accomplished, which is those 2 Kerbals in there. We brought Jeb back as well, but there's 2 tourists in there, and we get our money back for the spacecraft, and we get most of the payment for that mission. There will still be quite a lot more when we bring the rest of the other Kerbal back. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're looking forward to the next generation of this space program, where we'll be able to do things very efficiently and reusably and cheaply. But anyway, until then, this has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.